Pakistan is in the news a lot these days. They are part of the mediation between Iran and President Trump as we resolve that war. Today, we are leaving for Pakistan, and we want to talk about why we're going there and the unusual, powerful call that we received to go to Pakistan with the gospel of life. Come and join us today and talk about Pakistan and the Pakistan call. Thank you for joining us today for this Passion Life discussion with myself, John Ensor, and my good friend, Mark Nicholson. Mark, it's good to see you again today.
Hi, John.
I understand that you've had another adventure over the weekend. You always have so many adventures. Tell us about your adventures with copperhead snakes real quick.
Well, I'm literally about to leave the country, and my son calls me yesterday to tell me his wife is now 15 days overdue with her baby. My son's wife is 15 days overdue with the baby, and then Bowen went out working in the yard yesterday and got bitten by a massive copperhead snake on the hand. So hopefully when I get back, they've got him all fixed up.
Oh.
And the baby.
I understand you got a little bit of a fever too. So it's all part of life itself. It just goes on.
It does.
No matter what things you're doing for the Lord and his kingdom. That's for sure.
That's right.
So,
yep.
Hey, listen, I want to read to you a passage that's often called the Macedonian call. And it comes from the book of Acts, chapter 16, in verses 9 and 10. And a vision appeared to Paul in the night. A man of Macedonia was standing there, urging him and saying, "Come over to Macedonia and help us." And when Paul had seen the vision, immediately we sought to go on into Macedonia, concluding that God had called him to preach the gospel to them in Macedonia. You told me a story, and I think it's worth sharing, about what we might call the Pakistan call. Can you tell us about that and how you came to the conclusion that it is God's will for you at this point in your life to bring the gospel to Pakistan?
Yeah. That's kind of a great way of putting it, the Pakistan call, because between our chat feature on the website and the general administration email account for PassionLife, we get all kinds of requests from around the world on a daily basis for people saying, come over to Kenya and help us, come over to Kazakhstan and help us, come over, we need to do this ministry here, we need to do it there. And I don't want to sound too cynical, but most of these people haven't even looked at our website. They have no idea that we're a pro-life organization. They've just been researching Christian nonprofits and Christian missionary organizations in America and are trying to make connections, usually in hopes that we'll send them money so that they can do ministry. So I know that that's a bit of a cynical way of looking at it, but we just get bombarded with these things, and you can tell that they don't even know that we do pro-life as a missions platform. But there was one in particular that kind of stood out to me that came in a couple of months ago from Pakistan. And the young couple that was writing in gave a lot of detail about the fact that they've been working with young girls in human trafficking, and they know that the abortion rate is high in their area and don't know much about that or how to use it as a platform. Would you help us? So I wrote them an email, and I just introduced very briefly the work of PassionLife to make sure they understood what we did. They wrote right back and said, "That sounds wonderful. We could really use that. Could we get on a Zoom call?" So I got on a Zoom call. They really have a great passion and a great heart for helping people and serving them in crisis. And he said, "Listen, would you come over and teach us how to rescue babies in Pakistan this year?" And I said, "I would love to do that. That sounds like a great thing. I can probably get there later on this year. My spring's pretty full, but maybe I can get there by October or so." And John, he literally began to tear up. He said, "That's wonderful, and we will wait for you. But what about all the babies that will die between now and October?" Can you not
Unbelievable.
share with us a little bit about your training and teaching so that we can get started between now and October?
Oh my. Yeah.
And I thought to myself,
Yeah.
this is the Macedonian call. This is the Pakistan call here. This is someone saying, we need you, and determining in your spirit, wow, God seems to already be at work. So I trained him in the 4 questions by Zoom. We don't do that a whole lot because it's so personal, and but I trained him, and he immediately began to share it with other people and said, we really need you to get here as soon as possible. So based on the kind of the idea of the Macedonian call, waking up from a dream and saying, I need to get there, I just kind of changed my plans for the spring and had decided to go to Pakistan in about 45 minutes.
So you're leaving in 45 minutes. You're going to Pakistan and you're going to India.
That's
and
right.
You're taking another one of our staff members with you, and you're meeting some of our staff members in India, but you're starting off in Pakistan. So that's a great calling. I mean, if you're trying to discern God's will, and someone with tears in their eyes, just wants even the crumbs from the table, to use another analogy from the Bible.
Please come help us. Please come help us, as you said.
My guess is, honestly, if you asked 50 people where Pakistan was on the world map, maybe one could tell you where Pakistan is. So
I can tell you, I do a missions class, and just kind of as an icebreaker, a lot of times we hand out a world map with all the country names erased, and it's only about 120 or so, and we give people in small groups the chance to fill in the map. And usually there are some people who would put Pakistan in there, but most people wouldn't know how to find it if there were no names on the map.
Yeah. So let's take a minute to look at a map here, just to orient people about Pakistan. Pakistan is quite an amazing place. So here we are on our map. We've got India right here.
Yep.
And this white spot over here is kind of Western China and Tibet, where you lived for a while.
That's my old stomping grounds, the Tibetan Plateau. Right. It's white because it's also so high altitude.
Yeah. And then over here, we see the Strait of Hormuz, which has been much in the news of late.
Yep.
And Iran, which is a huge country, really. I mean, you could take Texas, you could take California, you could take 3 or 4 other states and jam them in there. That shows you how big Iran is.
I didn't realize Iran must be in the top 10 biggest countries in the world. Has to be.
Yeah, it's got a lot of country in it. And then here is Pakistan, okay? Now, I did a little, they share a border with India.
That's right.
And they used to be a part of India back in the day when India gained its independence from the British
colonies. Yeah.
Pakistan also gained their independence as well, and it was called West Pakistan at that point because East Pakistan, which was over here, is now called what? Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. That's right. I've been there.
Yeah. So going back over here to Pakistan, people may have heard of Karachi, which is a big city right here on the water.
That's right.
And then the capital of the country is Islamabad.
Correct.
Which is, I forget where that is. It's up here, way up in the north.
A little northern. Uh-huh.
Okay. And you're going to go to Lahore, which some people have probably heard of.
That's right. Lahore, Pakistan is, not too far from the border of India, and they share an ethnicity of people on both sides of the border that are Punjabi. So this is kind of the Punjabi region of Pakistan and India.
Yeah. Now, over here, the line is all dotted, which I assume just means that this is in dispute.
That's correct.
Parts of parts of Pakistan and India are at war.
Yeah.
In fact, these two countries were at war earlier last year, I believe. They had a brief fighting kinetic war.
broke out.
got stopped.
And
Pakistan.
that area that you're pointing out is known as Kashmir. That's the area that's so contentious.
Okay. Now, they're both nuclear powers, so that's not good.
Right.
Pakistan is now being, their government is now kind of the mediators working with the U.S. and Iran, which I think is a very good thing.
Yep.
You know, I don't think most of us think well of Pakistan in part because this is also where Osama bin Laden was hiding.
That's right.
And he was up in Abbottabad, which is, if you're going to go to Lahore,
Right.
Islamabad is up here. Abbottabad is just a little bit further up. Let's see if I can find it.
I imagine it's kind of the Wild West up there in the northern parts.
It's up in here somewhere, yeah.
Yep. Hiding in caves and
so
a lot of rural areas.
Yeah. I don't see it on my map. I did look it up earlier. But anyway, that's a brief, quick snapshot of where Pakistan is in relationship to everything else and where you're going in Pakistan. Now,
That's right.
This pastor's called you there.
Correct.
What are you going to do there?
Well, there are a couple of things we're going to do there. First and foremost, we're going to train this pastor to be able to do the 4 questions training of Passion Life in a really, where he'll be able to do it confidently, because we're going to do 2 days of trainings in 2 different cities with 2 different groups of people. So we'll be repeating ourselves. We'll be working him into the teaching so that he's teaching small portions of it as we go. We'll be evaluating for him at the end of the day how he did, what he can improve on, what he did really well, and then have him do other parts the next day. So he'll really get a deeper flavor for what it's like to teach this in front of a group of people. The other thing that's really significant on this trip is that Stan Pawlowski, who joined us on the Passion Life staff less than 4 months ago to be our director of Asian initiatives, is going to be working a lot in India. And of course, in this area of the world, you took him to China since he joined our team. And he's going over to India to meet our Indian pastoral leaders there for the first time. And it's actually, believe it or not, he has not yet heard the 4 questions training done in a missions context. He hasn't, when you went to China, you weren't teaching the 4 questions, you were doing other things. But he'll hear the 4 questions in a missions context for the first time. So he'll have at least 3 and maybe 4 opportunities to hear and get involved in teaching the 4 questions in Pakistan and India.
Okay. All right. Now, just again, for our audience sake, we don't want to assume that everybody knows what you mean by the 4 questions.
That's good.
Can you explain for people who are maybe watching for the first time what the 4 questions are?
So the 4 questions is what we call our core training document manual, our core training that we do with church leaders to help them if most of the time they've not really considered the problem of abortion as something that they can use as a church to minister to people around them. And so we're introducing this concept by giving them a 1-day training that we call the 4 questions because it consists of asking and answering thoroughly and biblically 4 simple questions. The first is, what does the Bible say about human life, including life inside the womb? Okay. Number 2, what does the Bible say about the shedding of innocent blood? This biblical formulaic language for what we might just say murder, including abortion. Question number 3, how do we bring the grace and of the gospel to the guilt and the grief and the shame of abortion so that people not only experience that they can be forgiven for something that they feel badly about, but they can also experience beyond that the freedom to stand before God confidently and serve him in a ministry context. So forgiven and set free. And then question number 4 says, how do we stop the shedding of innocent blood in our context, in our community? What can we do to rescue the innocent? And how have people done that throughout biblical history and missions history? And how are people doing it in different ways around the world today in poor places, rich places, rural, urban,
Okay.
how are God's people answering the call to rescue the innocent? So
Yeah.
those 4 questions taken together really get a lot of pastors from, if you will, zero to on their way down the road to helping their people know how to stand for life in a really convincing and winsome way.
So our philosophy is that we don't need a lot more experts, but we need a whole army of good Samaritans, of people who know just enough of God's will to know what to do and what to say when it matters the most. And that's why we reduced everything to 4 questions and 10 pages, actually. The document's only 10 pages long. So
Very short.
I'd like to encourage you, if you'd like to know you heard the question, now you want to know what are the answers to these questions, go and visit PassionLife.org. And right on the homepage, you're going to see a nice bright blue ribbon with the 4 questions in multiple languages. And you can just click on resources there.
Yeah, the word
and
resources.
And the first thing that's going to pop up is the 4 questions in English, as well as some other languages there. So go and download that and use it in your home group or Sunday school class. Study it yourself, and that will be very exciting. And I think you'd learn a lot. So listen, let's take a break here, because when we come back, I want to explore a little bit about what you're going to be doing in Pakistan that I think is very, very special. And in fact, I'd like to be with you at this moment of time while you're in Pakistan. But let's take a break and we'll come right back.
The U.S. accounts for only 3% of the abortions that happen in our world each year, leaving 97% of the crisis before us as a world missions challenge. Would you join us in serving where the need is greatest? Passion Life, rescuing the most vulnerable where abortion is most concentrated.
We've received a really overwhelming and wonderful response to this tiny baby fetal model that we've developed here in PassionLife. This fetal model is a medically accurate representation from the 9th week after conception. If you go to our website, we've got a way for you to not only send those tiny babies around the world, but find out a way that you can have some of those tiny babies come to you for your own use as well.
Mark, the call of missions has sent you to a lot of places in the world. This is your first time to Pakistan, though, isn't it? Isn't that right?
I've never been to Pakistan before, and interestingly, I was actually beginning to fill out the bones of a trip to Pakistan before COVID struck, and was going to be in Islamabad and maybe Lahore. I think Islamabad and Lahore, and COVID struck, and I had to stop pursuing that. And I've even lost contact with the Pakistani pastor that I was setting things up with since then.
Well, maybe you bump into him while you're there. I mean,
maybe so.
So many things are happening right now. It's an exciting God calling to go to Pakistan, and I just want to encourage people, if they feel like they're part of what you're doing right now, going to Pakistan. Now that we've looked at the maps, we've heard some of the stories, the calling. I just want to say, if you want to be a part of all of this, I really encourage you to visit PassionLife.org and make a contribution toward Mark's expenses. Stan Pelosi's going with them. We want to bring some things there and leave them there.
Yep.
We don't make a lot of financial appeals on this program, but I believe that they're all of us want to be a part of a great thing. So if you
Jesus said, where your treasure is, your heart will also be.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes just giving $10 a month or $25 a month before you realize, man, this is something that the Lord is really. Now that I've been giving, I'm passionate about it.
We're probably going to spend around $5,000 or $6,000 on this trip between airfare and hotels and travel going to Pakistan and India.
That's right.
Maybe a little bit more. But my point is, feel free to join Mark in this trip and go to the website, make a donation. We'll be in touch with you. You'll follow this trip. And also you can sign up to get a text update from Mark on all of his trips going and coming. So feel free to jump in as a participant in this trip.
That's
Mark, I want to read to you also a passage from another passage from the book of Acts. Okay. This is one that probably no one in the last 50 years has read, apart from a debate about speaking in tongues. Okay. Is tongues a gift that the Lord is giving today? Is it human language? Is it heavenly language? These are all the debates. I'd like to read this passage of scripture and set all of that aside and go another direction. Okay.
Okay.
In the book of Acts, chapter 2 is the day of Pentecost. And we read here that when the Holy Spirit was poured out on the earth for the first time in this Pentecost, that they saw what looked like flames of fire. Now, they weren't actual flames of fire. It says they looked like this. They came floating down as flames, and they rested on the gathering there. And it says that, picking up the story in verse 5, now there were dwelling in Jerusalem Jews, devout men from every nation under heaven. And as this sound, the multitude came together, and they were bewildered, because each one was hearing them speak in his own language. And they were amazed and astonished, saying, "Are not all these who are speaking Galileans?" Meaning they didn't speak their language. And how is it that we hear, each of us, in his own native language? And then going down to verse 12 or verse 11, we hear them telling in their own tongues the mighty works of God. So here is an occasion in which the Holy Spirit comes down, it anoints the people, they start proclaiming the mighty works of God in different languages that the people who are visiting Jerusalem at this time hear in their own language.
This is a perfect time to be reading that passage. John, did you know? Now, I'm attending an Anglican church right now, so I know that Pentecost happens to be something we're going to be celebrating this week in the church calendar.
Exactly.
50 days of Easter, 50 days past Easter Day, Easter Sunday being Pentecost, 50 days. That's coming right up.
Yeah. And this is what I call the Big Bang of world missions, because you had all of these countries there kind of being told and then going back home and launching things out. So they were from their Parthians and Medes and Elamites and Pontus, Asia, Egypt, Libya, Cretans and Arabians, and so on and so forth. So this was a celebration of God giving the story, the mighty works of God, and that people heard it in what it says their own native language, or what I call their heart language, which got them all excited. They didn't have to go through a translator to hear the mighty works of God.
That's such a great imagery for this. The Big Bang of the spreading of the church.
Yep. So now, how does this relate to what we're doing in Pakistan now? So tell us what you think will be some of the highlights of your moment that relate to this story in Pakistan.
Well, it'll be great just to connect with this pastor and to be there with Stan. And it's going to be wonderful to kind of explore what the Pakistani people are like. But I'm really looking forward to the moment when I get to kind of unveil a secret that I have. Okay. Which is that we have taken the 4 questions and 2 or 3 other of our core documents with PassionLife, and we have translated them through a professional translation service into the Pakistani heart language, if you will, of Urdu. In that area, they speak Urdu, and that's a kind of a major trade language. And we're going to be bringing everything that we have in with PassionLife materials in Urdu to them.
And when you hand that out to people and they see it, I mean, they're not going to expect it in their own heart language. They're going to be expecting that everything's going to go through translation. What's the other big highlight then besides getting the material in Urdu?
Well, I think it would be exciting to them to see the material right there, as you saw in that screenshot of the cover in the Urdu script. But we've partnered with the Endowment for Human Development, which is an organization that does a life video that they call Your Life Before Birth. And it's just a little imagery from the womb about the growth, the fetal development. It's wonderful. It's delightful. And it's narrated in English, but we have worked with the Endowment for Human Development to have it professionally translated into Urdu with a native Urdu speaker here in the United States in the studio.
Wow.
So,
okay. All right. Now, I know enough from my experience that whenever I can greet somebody in their heart language, it opens up their heart. Because people just don't expect it, that you can speak their heart language. So
that's right.
I'd love to be there when you show this video. Let's give our audience an opportunity to get a little taste of Urdu. Let's give them 15 seconds here of Urdu and Your Life Before Birth.
माँ के पेट के अंदर की हैरत अंगेज दुनिया में खुशामदीद जहाँ हर छोटा बच्चा परवान चढ़ता है.
So as you say, John, that's really going to kind of be a highlight of the trip, I think, because they're not expecting it. And when that video starts to play and they hear the video narrated in their own heart language, as you said, I think it really is going to be, it's going to have quite an impact.
They're going to start looking to the right and to the left. They're going to be, making comments.
That's right.
They're going to be surprised, and they're going to want to get a copy of it, and they're going to want to show it to other people, and they're going to want to take the 4 questions and take it back to their churches. And all of this is part of the extension of the Big Bang. Okay, if the universe started with the Big Bang, where God said, "Let there be light," and is still expanding, this is our version of it today. Is we're going to say, bang, here's what God's word says. Here's what your life looked like in the womb. And it's going to start to expand across Pakistan. Really want to pray. It's going to be very exciting. I want to pray God's blessing on your trip there and onto India. And again, I want to encourage all of you who are watching this to pray for us as we go to hard places like Pakistan and try to be a catalyst for a life-saving, life-changing movement that saves the innocent and brings good news to the guilty. And again, I want to encourage you to download the 4 questions and watch, look at our materials and be a part of what we're doing here and around the world. God bless you, Mark. Go with him and come home safe.